Okay, I am adjusting this again. I thought I had it fixed, but it doesn't keep my settings apparently. Hi, good morning. We have Beacon of Gondor here. Hang on. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Okay. Good morning, everybody. So we have coffee and we have Panda, and I've got a shelf.
And Firefly shirt.
Yep, I've got a shelf with plants back there, and you can't even see it. I was hoping it was going to block some of the light. There, that's a little better. Then it just makes everything dark. Okay, that's better. Hey, Sacco! Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, it's been a day, and it's going to be a fabulous day because I'm spending it with my hubby and my kiddo, and we are doing birthday things today. So, the theme for today was literally just thrown together because I've had a bunch of stuff going on this morning. So, but it fits. We have books that fit, and I have to show off my little bouquet this morning. So Val was trying to cheer me up, and we have the thing about red leaves. We are fall hits, and we're always trying to find pretty leaves for each other, and he loves red leaves, and so he found these out and brought me a cluster of leaves this morning. So happy birthday, thank you. So I have my little, I know, isn't it?
Well, there are no flowers right now anywhere, like on any of the bushes outside. But all of the bushes are this beautiful bright red, and I was like, I'm just going to pull 4 or 5 of these, stems, make them a little longer, and then they've got a big cluster of red flowers, and it looked really pretty. It looked like some kind of boutonniere or something. And I was like, yeah, that works. I brought that inside.
I was on call with somebody, and it really cheered me up. So, but yeah, my gardener Panda. I forget what that's actually called.
Green thumb?
No.
Has nothing to do with watering.
I was thinking more of like vandalism.
Vandalism.
Partial vandalism.
They're the plants in our front yard. They have vandalism.
But so yeah, it's today is going to be an interesting day, to say the least.
Panda.
So yes, it is my 56th birthday today. I've done 56 turns around the sun, and so I thought rites of passage was a good thing. But I'm going to share some personal projects and a new book that I just got that I'm excited about. These I made on live stream on Twitch last night. So I was playing around with the new paint. That's my moth that's been made into a rubber stamp. So it's my artwork. And then I was just playing around and kind of experimenting with what would work on the wood. And the Micron pens actually work on the wood. So I was very happy about that. And the Posca pen does not, or at least the one I have. But my gel pens worked. And then these are my 2 favorites. Is just a mixed media collage because there was paper on it I didn't like, so I ripped it off, but I left part of the paper on there with the paint. And then this one's probably my most favorite. So lots of little hand-drawn details. And I will be posting photos of this on Instagram today, along with my Folktale Week from yesterday, and that I forgot to post last night, and from today that I still have to do. So the first one was Yule Cat, the second one was Krampus, and then last night's is Baba Yaga. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody. And I got a case for myself for my birthday for my iPad because my other case had horribly died. So I do have a new case. I'm very happy. Because
really nice brown leather.
Yeah, too. Because it wasn't holding it up on camera anymore. The other one literally had Velcro dots on it to try and hold it on, and it wouldn't stay. So I got that, and I got this book, Becoming Dangerous: Witchy Femmes, Queer Conjurers, and Magical Rebels, and it's like personal essay, short story kind of stuff. But they're deeply personal. 21 essays come from a wide variety of contributors who have all created personal rituals to summon their own power in a world that would prefer them powerless. Here they share their practices they use to resist self-doubt, grief, and depression in the face of sexism, slut-shaming, racism, patriarchy, and other systems of oppression. So I've heard a lot of really good things about this book. And this thing, you could beat somebody with it. It's like the paperweight on it is super heavy. I guess people are expecting to annotate and highlight in it because it just feels like that kind of paper. So I'm gonna start reading this. I'm very happy about it. Yeah, and this is 2 books
that are 400 pages each.
This is heavier. The paper on this thing is so much thicker, but it's really well done. I love the cover. I'm a book designer, so I always look at, spacing and margins and font size and all that. And they did a beautiful job with this.
Blocking. How did they set up the indexing? And
it's
paragraphs.
Really nicely done. So, and it's that. So my other one, which fits in today's theme, is Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola-Estes. She's a cantadora, storyteller, and it's very wild woman energy, feral women energy, storytelling, and passing down things. It was something that I finally, when Issa, my daughter, was old enough, I got her a copy. Feral woman for the win. Hell yeah. Shield Maiden raised a Shield Maiden. So, but it's also one of my favorite go-to books, and I often will buy paperback copies and gift them to people of that. So, but with Rites of Passage, Val has a couple of books here, and that's actually 4 books.
This is a 4-book series.
Yeah.
Starting with the first 2, Shadow and Claw. This is Gene Wolfe. This is the Book of the New Sun. It's a Dying Earth novel, very much like the old Jack Vance Dying Earth series. It is, to a degree, rite of passage. You have a young man who is part of a cloister of guild torturers. There's like a series of guilds within the world. He's part of the Torturers Guild. He's like found on out in front of the gate and brought inside when he's very young, and kind of like the way monks do, and and he is raised to be a torturer, and he commits a crime and has pity on a young woman who is supposed to be killed, executed, and he is exiled for it. He is sent off into another land instead of some more severe punishment. So he is then basically told to go ply his trade in some other land. And so as he kind of grows and kind of experiences life over these 800 pages, um, he meets people along the way and experiences magical things and unusual creatures. And the book feels very medieval. It feels very fantasy when you read it, but then there are very quiet earmarks of science fiction and a world that existed before, that has kind of where technology has arrived in the world and then kind of has gone by the wayside and then has been kind of repurposed for something else. There's a building in the story at one point that is being used as a large like domicile, and you can tell by the description that it was at one point an old starship.
Okay.
So
yeah, there's
it
three
actually
stories
is
in each
like
one.
kind of like post-apocalyptic dying Earth sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's very well done. The language is very lofty in places. However, it's very poetic, beautifully written. The dialogue is not just draggy in places. So I really enjoyed it. I read it along with an audio version of it so that I could read and then kind of hear somebody else reading it while I read it. And that was also so that I could read it faster.
That's actually, it's funny because you do that to read it faster. I do it to read it slower and remember it. So I know I've mentioned it before. I read 400 words a minute, which has its benefits as an editor, but it's problematic because I don't remember everything like he does, and he reads slower than I do. So I have to have, and with the ADD, it just helps me read now, being able to hear somebody doing the audio. So I have Wayward and Once and Future Witches right now that I have. Both of those have audio books on Audible, not sponsored. And so I will do that to slow myself down, and it helps with retention. And there's a lot of, if the narrator's good, it makes it just so much better. But these actually have 3 books each, 3 stories each in here.
2.
Nope, it's got 3 listed. It has 2 listed on the front, but it has
it's
3
2 novels
listed
in each book.
Okay, because it's got 3 separate ones in the listed in the back. But the
Sword of the Lictor and Citadel of the Autarch, it's two novels, around 200 pages each. This one is the Shadow of the Torturer and Claw of the Conciliator.
Yeah.
So it's 4 novels, each are around 230-ish pages each.
But Ursula K. Le Guin actually has a review on the back here. It says magic stuff, a masterpiece, the best science fiction I've read in years. So if you like sci-fi, you like medieval stuff.
Le Guin also has said that he is our Melville, quote unquote.
Oh wow.
And by our Melville, I mean like fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like what's the word I'm looking for? Science fantasy, right? A lot of what he writes feels very fantasy, but is science fiction. He's got another fantastic story of a young man who writes everything down in a journal every day because when he wakes up the next morning, he doesn't remember.
That's kind of like 51st Dates.
And he's an ancient like hoplite warrior, like an old Greek warrior. It's called Latro in the Mist. It's a fantastic story. But the idea that he would wake up every morning and not remember anything.
Yeah.
And so he's keeping like a record of everything that he experiences so that he can go back in and kind of refresh this short-term memory loss every day. It's like, can you imagine if you lost a journal like that?
Somebody would own you.
Yeah.
They would have so much information about you.
Yeah.
And it's Memento. Yeah.
Oh, Memento's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Memento.
We have the I hadn't
It's one of my
seen
favorite
it.
movies.
I hadn't seen it
Yeah.
until like earlier this year or last year.
We had it.
We
on
own it.
We had it on disc.
Yeah, we own it.
Mhm.
But I had found it for like $2, I think, at Half Price Books
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, I haven't seen this yet. Let's get this. And yeah.
The other one with Liam Neeson, where he like wakes up, loses his memory, doesn't remember what happened before, and then like this woman that he thought was his wife gets reassigned.
Yeah.
What
movie is
a
that?
new husband as a agent stand-in or whatever.
Yeah.
He has to kind of relearn that he is some kind of like secret agent.
Yeah.
or whatever. And that's an amazing story too. I'm trying to remember the name of that one too. It's that Liam Neeson film.
He's got so many of them.
I know. He's probably one of my favorite actors.
It
of all
wasn't
time.
Taken. It wasn't.
No.
I'm looking. Absolution?
Retribution?
No. Unknown? I think it was Unknown.
Unknown. That was the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unknown's fantastic.
Well, there's another one called Memory. There's another one called Memory.
Yeah. No, it's Unknown. Unknown's the one that I'm thinking of. For sure. That's the one where like he like is like hounding this one woman who he like has like a snippet of a memory that this woman's his wife.
Yeah.
But they were actually both assigned on a like secret agent project together, and then when he kind of lost his memory, they kind of wiped everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so like all the stuff on the internet is
it's a trope.
Yeah, it's a trope, but yeah, it's still very well put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as coming of age, also, if I had to recommend a couple of little books, especially if you like horror adjacent things, both are from Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Dreamcatcher,
mm-hmm.
And the other is Pet Cemetery. What was it?
Skinwalker.
The Body.
Oh yeah.
The Body's the other one, which is actually the book that the movie, not Lost Boys. It's not Lost Boys, was it? No, what is it? It's that other one. Actually, it might be the Lost Boys. No, I was thinking it was the Goonies, but it's not. I'm pretty sure it's.
I have to look.
It's one of those movies where a bunch of kids get together and then they have to deal with something, and they go on a journey along the way.
Stand By Me?
Stand By Me. Thank you. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So both of those are also very good. The Body is actually not a very long novel either. So,
yeah, it's a novella.
Yeah. So you can read that
published in King's 1982 collection,
mm-hmm.
Different Seasons, and later it adapted into the 1986 film Stand By Me. Which, admittedly, I have not read a whole lot of Stephen King. What I have read, I've enjoyed. My favorite is still Thinner, which involves a Romney curse,
mm-hmm.
basically. The movie was okay, but unreliable narrator. Loves Stephen King short stories. I know. I want to actually.
This is also unreliable narrator.
Yeah, I actually want to get. I actually want to get a short story.
The character literally says at one point in the story near the beginning, he says, "I remember everything," and you're like, "Right, sure."
But I've been reading a lot, and I think it has to do with just time. I haven't made time to do a whole lot of pleasure reading. I've got books for business stuff, and I had listed those last week, and I want to start. I've got friends like Sacco who have written lovely things that I need to sit down and actually read. Sacco's Flambeau as an example. And then I have the other one that I mentioned that's my girlfriend Angie has written some stuff. I put together a book of shorts. I have some that I can finish. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah, the reason I liked the idea of this is because it's essays and it's short, and if I can't sit down and read the whole thing, that's fine. I can read it in bits and pieces. I've been reading poetry books, here and there, and just
Honestly-
shorter stories.
Honestly,
And
that's how I read longer stuff.
yeah, it's just shorter stories, and that way and I'm writing short stories too right now with the project that I did on live stream for the last year. um and I'm taking November off the writing stream, but I stopped at the end of October and had 52 short stories that I have to go back in, flesh out, edit, and then publish the book, which I have an idea, I think, what I'm going to do for the title. But just finding stuff that I can read in short chunks that's like a complete thing, not like just reading a chapter. Because then I may not get back to it for a while and I have to reread it because I can't remember any of it. I'm like a goldfish. But it's, the short story thing is really appealing to me right now. And so being able to read that is exciting to me because I can do it in chunks. So excited to read my short stories. I'm excited to read my short stories. I have to go back in and figure because it's all the genres are all over the place. Most people had me doing horror and romance and magical realism, and then I started coming up with ideas and sci-fi, historical. So there's all sorts of genres, subgenres, and some of them are combined. Thriller, mysteries. I've got an ode in there. There's a Lovecraftian one that I did an ode to Paul, who was my storyteller when I ran the vampire chapter down in Florida, and he passed earlier this year, sadly. So I did a Cthulhu. He was all about Cthulhu, Cthulhu-based one, and then there was one that was tied into stalemate, and there's one that's, there's a couple of different ones in there. So yeah, genre blender. So I liked being able to push that was my rite of passage, was writing the short stories and then actually writing genres that I don't normally write. Some of them I don't even usually read. And I've been pushing myself out of that comfort zone, which I think it's a good thing for everybody to do, is don't just get stuck in one genre when you're reading. Push yourself to read other stuff. I was never a big horror person. I watched scary movies. I grew up on Hitchcock and Hammer horror. So that was kind of my speed. I was never into the slasher movies. I was never into I haven't seen any of the Halloween movies. I saw one Elm Street movie. I've never seen any of the Mike Myers movies. The only reason I would go back in and watch Halloween now is because of Jamie Lee Curtis, because I absolutely adore her. And I would love to see her character arc through the whole thing, because she's a woman's a badass. And so pushing myself outside of that, I found one called Graveminder by Melissa Marr that if you have not read, she's usually a young adult author, and that was her first horror book, and I loved it. I could not put it down.
Yeah, I actually finished that one too. I
Yeah.
was impressed.
Yeah, I think Issa even did too. I can't remember if I loaned her a copy or got her a copy, because I know you have your own copy of Graveminder.
No, I don't.
I thought you did.
No.
I thought you had a library
No,
copy.
I don't. Not anymore.
Oh, maybe
it's been a long time.
Maybe you gave it to Issa.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I just don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
But just really good. Yeah, read all the stuff. Horror takes to short. It's really easy. I know.
She has a lot of fairy stories.
Yeah, the young adult.
Well.
Yeah, the young
like
adult stuff.
Like that. yeah, like
Yeah, but she's
like
come
a
out with some
fairyland
more
world.
stuff
Yeah.
within the Graveminder world.
Really? Yeah,
So
hadn't heard about
that's
that.
yeah,
But
and then there's like a couple that it's romance, but it's horror, and I don't generally read romance. For years, the only romance that I read was the trilogies by Nora Roberts, because a friend of mine had gotten me into the Three Sisters Island trilogy, which is three witches. One of the characters has heavily influenced my idea on the bookstore stuff. And I know you're right. You got some stuff you're working on right now, but yeah, I've gotten into it now, and I'm kind of like, okay. Now I'm not necessarily. I don't know. I guess maybe I am to a point. There's the one romance book. I want to say Molly Harper is the author, but that could be the narrator. The narrator is really good, but I think the book's by Molly Harper, and Molly Harper has come out with a ton of stuff. I have not read all of it. There's the one book that I've read, How to Date Your Dragon or something, but it's basically their human form, and it's cryptid stuff kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it, but I was like, the description of it hooked me, and I was just like, what the hell? I'll go ahead and listen to it. And I was like, okay, this is really good. Like her writing. So, and a lot of that had to do with the narrator, because the narrator is just a hoot. But I like Nora's trilogies because I can see her formula, which was really big for me, is to actually be able to see how she handled the story arc. And you can see the storyboard in your head. You can see the whole, here's hero's journey and how she handled it to lead it from one book to the next book. And, so there's this formula that I've kind of been picking apart, to help me with my own stuff. But I can't read her there was only one standalone that I think it's called The Chase. There was only one standalone that I actually got into. The other ones I've tried, I can read, and I can't read her JD Robb stuff. Her detective, for some reason. I can't get into it. It's a skill set. It's a skill set. I'm learning how to do series. Yeah, definitely. It's a learning curve, to be sure. I've been teaching Hero's Journey and storyboarding to K-12 kids, and that has helped me figure out how to relay stuff and how to, talk to other people about doing series stuff, is seeing her formula and how she was doing it. And she's prolific, so she's done it a zillion times over. There's a few series that she's done that I really like. Her other ones that are all short stories, I can't get into those either. It's the formula's not there, or it's different, and it just doesn't. I don't know. I can't get into them, sadly, because she's got a zillion short stories.
Yeah.
So, and she just came out with another one. So, but yeah, the my rite of passage has been this attempt at doing, first pantsing it the first time I did the writer's stream and writing. I initially wanted to do short stories, and I wrote a chapter, the first one. So I ended up with a novella. Well, yeah, novella, 33,000 words at the end of the year. And then I took a year off, and then did this last one and actually did short stories. So some are just ideas, some are like, here's an outline. I was pantsing it, but I was still like, I can see an outline here. So I'm actually going back in and going to come up with just like a loose outline. So I have a beginning, middle, and end, and not just notes for all of these stories. So that's going to be a process. I am probably going to start the writing stream back up in December to kind of motivate me to keep up with that. So yeah, so I'm going to probably flush it out at least, or do the outlines starting in December and do a different story each week, like I did, or do start to finish on each one until I'm at a point where I can edit. I'm trying not to edit as I go. That's the one thing I tell other people is like, just get it down on paper. Don't try to bum rush yourself with fixing everything. But I tend to do that the second draft. So we'll see. We'll see how I get. This was also part of my rite of passage in writing was this book is How to Tell a Story. And this is from The Moth, which is a group that I had just found out about. And so 25 years, the group has mentored people in writing, and it's really cool. I'll put a link down, but I've had this book 3 years. Yeah. My birthday 2022 is when I got this. And I've sat down and looked at it a bit in different chapters, but I haven't. Cool bookmark. I don't know where I got the bookmark, but that's really cool. It's watercolor. Handmade. Not sure from who, but and definitely my birthday because I had matcha party. I make these into bookmarks all the time. But this is the other one that I'm intending on like sitting and reading through cover to cover. But the group itself is really, really interesting. It's kind of like right up there with McSweeney's, which I had found I'd never seen, and it comes with the one hardcover that I have comes with a disc of music to listen to while you're reading the stories, which I have a project called Playlist that is basically me spitting out ideas for stories as I'm listening to music, and it's not a complete story, but it's going to end up being a short story collection too. So, and I did submit one for the anthology that I realized that I had forgotten I had written, and it's a complete story, and it was like 1,076. So I have written a short story before from start to finish. I forgot I had done that. So, and it's bordering on horror. So it's going to be, Steven's already got it for the anthology. So I have not gotten feedback on it yet. So he will probably have me expand on it, but can't edit a blank page. Yeah, exactly. And that's actually a Nora Roberts quote. There's a couple of writing quotes that I like fall back on, and you can't edit a blank page, which is Nora Roberts. And Dan Brown, in his masterclass, which I took, I had a membership for masterclass for a while, and I took Dan Brown's and Margaret Atwood's class is brilliant, and Baldacci's. Mm-hmm. And Dan you don't have to know everything to write a book, only to finish it, which is so freeing and is very like, I'm going to core dump everything and deal with it later kind of thing. So it's very freeing in my writing with that. So, and that's something I try to impress on everybody else. So what was, I'm trying to think. My rites of passage were fairly depressing. Because my dad died. That was one. What's one thing, without being too depressing, because it's been a day. What's one thing that you remember that was a pivot point for you, other than meeting me? So, which
related to the current topic.
Yeah.
Finishing my first book.
Yes. I have photos of that.
Yes. I have a ring from that.
Yes.
Yes.
So
I'm not wearing currently.
Backstory quickly is he wrote 3 books during, all 3 of them each during Nano. He set his goal instead of 50,000 to 100,000, and he was 3,500 words a day, just cranked. First book was a pivot point. My crank, yes, and it never gets old seeing and doing an unboxing and actually seeing it for the first time. You could have published 30 books, and each time is just as, giddy. But so he wrote these books, and he's got 2 chapters left on the last one. He's trying to figure out how to close out the arc. And
I need to read the last chapter and a half and see if it's endable where I finished it.
Right.
Because if I don't really need to write another 3,500 words,
yeah,
then, or figure out how to like close out 500 to 1,000 words, that would be easier. But
yeah. I have an author page which I'll link to on Facebook.
But writing the two books after it were a lot easier, because once I kind of had an idea where the story was going, it was like, okay, let's carry this arc off.
And you found your voice. Well, because his writing style
I went back in
changed
and
a little.
Proofread the first novel and
redid it.
Added more words, oddly enough, rather than cut, because of changing whatever that voice was, whatever that voice was.
Yeah.
It actually added words to it, which helped the length.
Yeah. But so I have a cast voice page that gets people often. I will link to your page,
because I think that first book's closer to 85,000 ish.
Yeah. But it's, so when it was done, I had a copy printed, bought an author copy, and presented it to him. So the first,
I did find it.
The first time, I would say, if you want to, go get it. The first thing I did was I actually printed out the whole manuscript. So I have a picture of him looking at the printed manuscript for the first time, which is like, cockroach killer size. It's huge. And I presented him with this. So the cover has the horse from this ring, and he had found this. He was looking for kind of prop stuff, and found this ring on Etsy. Everything around it sold, but this ring, for like 6 or 8 months. I finally was just like, something's going to happen. It's going to go. I'm going to grab it. So printing out your third draft really did that for you. Oh yeah. Having it in your hand is just, you can't replace that feeling. But so I did the design and the formatting and all the stuff, and we have a very clean shaven Val,
fresh face baby
on it. People kept, because my hair is white, it started going white when I was 20 because of trauma. It was when my dad died and all the circumstances around that, that's a book in itself. But everybody was like, "Oh, your son is such a hard worker," and I just wanted to like reach over and plant one on him in front of him most of the time. But that was it when he was working, and yeah, he looks so much younger without all this. So, but hey, Jenny, or Janet, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I haven't even looked at Facebook. I have a zillion people on Facebook that have been like posting stuff all day and Discord. but yeah, this is the baby face. But this I did the cover, and it says pre-edit copy. So there's 2 copies in existence that say pre-edit copy. Maybe we'll auction one off later or something after launch. But the horse on that is from this ring, and I don't know if you can even.
Do you need to hold it closer?
I've got it upside down. So the horse is intaglio on this piece of carnelian. And it was funny because this is a Roman centurion. It says a centuries-old church inquisitor roams Europe in search of 4 artifacts that could change the fate of his order and the world. Seeking to protect their investment, the church assigns him a bodyguard, a corrupted assassin that he made and abandoned in a previous life that has her own agenda. Dun, dun, dun. So we joke that this is his Catholic vampire story. And which, fun fact, Val actually was studying to be a priest before he met me. And then he got side railed. And saying that on purpose, which we have a shop with that t-shirt. It says, I got side railed. The English language cannot contain me, because I get tired and I combine words, and sidetracked and derailed came out as side railed. So, but so we have a shirt now. So that is in the shop. I will link it. But first ever, and presented him with the ring, and upon further, they had gotten it in an estate sale or in a market in Thailand.
I want to say it was on Etsy listed.
Yeah, it was on Etsy. Yeah. And I talked to them about it, and they said that they had found it in a vintage thing in Thailand, in a market. But he did the research and found out that carnelian was actually worn by the centurions. So this was super cool and super like synchronicity to find. So
it was one of a handful of stones that were typically worn by Roman aristocracy. A lot of the time, if you were not as well off, or if you were among the plebs, when you got married, you wore an iron band. Because if you were captured on the battlefield and there was nothing but an iron ring around your finger, people weren't taking very valuable objects off of the soldiers, because the soldiers were just wearing iron bands to represent the fact that they were married. Things like this were reserved for people who were, in the higher class. So
proof copy. So this,
things like onyx, lapis, carnelian.
I am bound to determine this is coming out this next year. He wrote this a while back, and it's been,
I think that
years,
one's from 06.
Yeah,
November 06 is when I wrote that.
Yeah. So we've had it and sat on it for far too long. So I don't like Facebook wishes because people don't really remember the date. I know. I have an actual paper address book, birthday book, and I'm even bad about it because I have so many people to track that I have like my inner circle. I have birthdays written down that I keep track of, but everybody else, I'm like, Facebook, tell me what's going on. And I'll do
every once in a while I'll go into
I don't have the brain for it anymore.
I'll go into the notifications where it's got the list of upcoming birthdays, and I'll start like like a day or two ahead of time. I'll go ahead and be like, hey, happy birthday,
Yeah.
Just so that I don't
Life
forget.
Life gets too busy, sadly. But it took 11 years to write my first book, and then a year for my second. Yeah. That's
tight right now.
Yeah, I know. I got it stuck on my thumb. But I did this. This was actually my very first book that I published is Insect Haiku. And it's a little tiny book, and it came out years ago, and I did it just to get myself over the hurdle. And it's got little bits of poetry in here, and it is little bug sketches, and I'm redoing it and turning it actually into a workbook kind of thing, but it has and with refreshed art and all that. So this is my very first little tiny thing that I did, and I love this size. This is a 4x6. So I'm actually at, in fact, it was Lexi's Sako, it was Lexi's suggestion that I do a 5x7, which is perfect because haiku is 575. So it's just like, okay, I'm doing that. So the next version is going to be a 5x7 because I just thought it was really cool. Your birthday too? I don't think you told me when your birthday is. I don't know when your birthday is, but I will put that in my notes. I dream about writing a book since I was 16. Now I'm 30. It's never too late. July 21st. I think that's my cousin. That's the same as my cousin. Or was it my dad? I think July 21st. I think that's my cousin. I think that's Sandy's birthday.
Is that Sandy? I don't remember.
And my dad passed in 89, so I don't track his birthday anymore. So it's either my dad or my cousin, one of the two. But July 21st sticks out in my head. And we're actually going to be at a convention next year. That's usually when the Imaginarium is, the big writers convention in Louisville that I help sponsor. So so I will lock it into my brain that around Imaginarium I need to wish you happy birthday. I associate things with things now just to remember anything. But yeah, so I know Imaginarium. I will link to that too. Teaching my workshop again. I don't know what panels I'll be on yet. But I'm on panels, and sometimes I mod panels depending on if they need help. So I might see if I can get on the AI panel this year. Not necessarily mod it, but because I did that a couple of times, but yeah, I have been collecting research and articles and all sorts of stuff for that for that topic. And even if I'm not on panels, I might just have a PDF pamphlet of here's my opinion, here's what you need to read up on. Yeah. So, and I think for next episode next week, I think we may actually make AI the topic. So I've been kind of deciding how I want to broach the subject with that. Not that I'm quiet about my opinion on it, but yeah. So, but today is my birthday, so we are going to head out, and I gotta go pick up my kid because we're gonna spend the day rummaging around in thrift stores. Yeah, my not so little, which my alarm's going off. So we're gonna go pick her up and run around, and we've got board game night tonight, and so lots of fun things planned for today with family. So and my two favorite people I get to spend a day with. So, but and he gave me a love letter last night. Yesterday. Yeah. I gotta clip it from Twitch last night because he's like, yeah, because I'm no fool. If I'd have waited till tomorrow, we have stuff going on, it would have been in the doghouse. So in the Panda house. But thank y'all so much for hanging out today. It was kind of like thrown together because, like I said, it was a morning. So, but all good. Gonna have a fabulous day today. So Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's good to see you guys. And next week we'll figure out the topic for next week, but it might be AI. I don't know. We'll see. Put subjects in the comments if you have ideas or would like to hear us talk about certain things or have a conversation about certain things. And we will see you next week. So stay well, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, take care of each other, and we will see you next Thursday.